Method 2, binomial distribution table. Now I want to show you the location of how to find this in the back of your book. So if you go to my lab or my math lab, it doesn't matter wherever you select the e-text contents, it doesn't matter where you click. So if you just open up the first section, let's say just say the chapter opener, okay, it's going to open up the textbook. And then when the textbook opens up, and then from here what you're going to do is you're going to look at the table of contents. So over to your left over here, you're going to see the table of contents, and then you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you see where it says Appendix A, Tables and Formulas. So when you click on that, it's going to give you the tables and formulas. And if you notice, the very first one is the binomial probabilities. So if you notice, here represents the value of n, so this is the column for n. This represents the values for x. And then over here to the right represents the value of p. So that's how you're going to read this. So let's go back to that example. Example 4, Veggies. Based on a Gallup poll, 60% of U.S. adults are vegetarians. If we randomly select 5 adults, find the following probabilities by using table A1. So here's the table. I'm going to go ahead and then do part A first. So for part A, what do we know? We know that in the problem, we're given the value of n is equal to 5. So we know there's 5 adults. We know the probability is 60%, which is the same thing as 0.6, and x is equal to 3. So we're looking for exactly 3. So the probability of exactly 3 is going to be the following. So what we need to do is, on the table, we need to locate where n is equal to 5. So if we scroll down here, here's where n is equal to 5. And then if we go down from 0, 1, 2, and 3, well, there's the value of 3. And so we've gone to 5, we've gone to x equals 3. Now we need to find 0.60. So if you look at the very top and we're looking at the probability of p, here's 0.60. And if we go all the way down to where 3 goes, it goes to 0.346. So therefore exactly 3 is going to give us 0.346. Next, we want to find the probability that there are at least 2 vegetarians. So again, in this case here, we know that n is still equal to 5. We know the probability is 0.60, so we're still using that last column. But now it says that x is greater than or equal to 2. So how do we do that? Well, we know that the probability of at least 2 is equal to the probability of x is greater than or equal to 2. Well, that's the same thing as saying the probability of 2 plus the probability of 3 plus the probability of 4 plus the probability of 5. And recall that n is equal to 5, so we can only go to 5 anyway there. So, again, we're looking at n is equal to 5, so we're here at 5, and now we're going to look at the probability of 2. So the probability of 2 is going to give us 0.230. So let's see that. So we get 0.230. We already found that the probability of 3 is 0.346. The probability of 4 is going to give us 0.249, and the probability of 5 is 0.078. So when we add them all together, we get 0.903. And let's just go ahead and do that on our calculator to verify that. So we have 0.230 plus 0.346 plus 0.249 plus 0.078, which gives us 0.903. Now let's take a look at part C. Part C, it says the probability that there are fewer than 4 vegetarians. So n is equal to 5, p again is still equal to 0.60, and now we're looking at x is less than 4 because it says fewer than. Now recall that the probability of less than 4 is equal to the probability of less than 4, which is equal to the probability of x being less than or equal to 3. So I'm going to go ahead and then just remove these highlights so we can use them again with a different color. Oops. Let's go back and do that. Okay. So recall that the probability of x being less than or equal to 3 is going to be the probability of 3 plus the probability of 2 plus the probability of 1 plus the probability of 0. Okay, so let's just go ahead and use a different one there. So again, we're still using n is equal to 5. We're still using the last column because that's 0.60. So the probability of 3 we know is 0.346. We know that the probability of 2 is 0.230. Probability of 1 is 0.077, and the probability of 0 is 0.010. So if we add those together, then we get the following. We get 0.663. And let's just go ahead and verify that. So 0.010 plus 0.077 plus 0.230 plus 0.346, which gives us 0.663. Now keep in mind here that what allowed us to use this was the fact that n was equal to 5 and p was equal to 0.60. Now you may get where n is equal to 4 and you may get the probability of 0.30. So you just need to make sure you pay attention to what they're asking in that question.